Every man talk a big game till they get a taste of a real woman. I done fed them, loved them, washed their clothes, kissed their lips, wiped their nose. You taste the sugar, you lose your teeth. Ain't no man alive can handle me. They say I'm too much woman for one small bed, too much thinking in this big old head, too much meat for their pride to see. Ain't no man alive can handle me. Yeah, they want a snack, not a meal, baby. Ain't no man alive can handle me. I'm fire dressed in melody. I shine too bright, I cut too deep. They talk that love, but they don't keep. I ain't no dog for some food to own. I work this land to turn my own. I gave my heart till my knees went weak. They love my laugh, but not my grief. Now, baby.
Hello. It's good to see everybody that's here and everybody that's going to tune in later. There was a release tonight from OSBI. Hey, True Crime Butterfly, it's good to see you. As a matter of fact, let me do something real quick. Anyway, there was a release tonight, London Valdez case. Looks like they might have arrested or put the charges on him yesterday, but it's hard to find them. Yes, I've had a channel for a while. It's good to see you. I want to, I should have had my phone ready, but I didn't. I didn't have it ready. So we're going to fix that right now. And True Crime Butterfly, we're going to fix you too. Give you a wrench. Give you a wrench. There you go. There you go. Okay. Now, let me add this. And I do want to say, let's see here. Let me see who it was that told me that OSBI had put this on their site. GIZZIE Girl 58 said OSBI posted about him. Thank you for letting me know that. Really appreciate it. Okay, here we go. It's this one right here. This is the London Valdez case. She was missing out of Hooker, Oklahoma. They found her along the side of a road, and she was not alive. The autopsy came back. Hey, Lavender. The autopsy came back, and she had meth in her system. Her family says she didn't do meth. She had been known to be hanging around with two guys that she had just met. And this is the newest thing. Man charged following Beaver County suspicious death for immediate release October 31st, 2025. Beaver County, Oklahoma. On June 12, 2025, the Beaver County Sheriff Office requested the OSBI to investigate a suspicious death. Earlier that day, deputies responded to a rural location near County Road NS 135 and County Road EW 9 regarding a deceased individual. The victim was transported to the office of the chief medical examiner, who identified the individual as a 16-year-old female from Hooker, Oklahoma, which was London Valdez. The victim's cause and manner of death was determined to be acute methamphetamine toxicity and combined with hypothermia. During their investigation, OSBI special agents determined that the victim was traveling with 19-year-old Braydon Brown a few days before her death. Investigators spoke to Brown and learned that while traveling with the victim, he was intoxicated on methamphetamine. Brown was driving the vehicle and got stuck on a dirt road just north of the intersection where the victim was found deceased. Brown then exited the vehicle and fled the scene. That was the last time the female victim was seen alive. Based on the information and evidence obtained, Brown was charged with second-degree murder by the District 1 District Attorney's Office on October 30th, 2025. Brown was already booked into the Beaver County Jail on unrelated charges. This is still an ongoing investigation. The OSBI appreciates the Beaver County Sheriff Office for their continued assistance in this investigation. And there's a picture of him. Okay, and then, so Oklahoma does their things just a little bit different. I did look it up on Vine, and it just shows that he had been arrested on October 24th. It don't say exactly what the charges were. So, 19-year-old male, white. But this is a good thing. These family members, the grandma, which London lived with, and her mom, Brittany, has been trying really hard to get some charges. Now, there was another gentleman with them, and I don't see where they've said anything about him, so I'm not even going to say his name. But now maybe they'll get to the bottom of exactly what happened to London. You know, I've always felt sorry for the family, even when she was missing, when she wasn't found. You know, you always want to find out what happened to him. And it seems like to me that in this particular case, and I'd like to see it happen more often. We just had one in Wichita, too. If they're supplying the drugs to the people that OD, should they be charged? If they're the supplier of these drugs, should they be charged? I'm going to see if I could pull up the one from Wichita, because it was just in the last couple of days. But that would stop a few drug dealers, wouldn't it? I mean, if they supply the drugs, then maybe they should be charged. Here it is. Actually, I just saw it a couple days ago, but it's a couple weeks ago. Okay, this was in Wichita. The message should be clear. If you're involved in the distribution of narcotics in our community, we will hold you accountable for placing people in Wichita in danger, said Wichita police. Man arrested on suspicion of first-degree murder for 15-year-old's overdose death. When I clicked on it, it took me to a different thing. So here we go. Suspect identified in connection with Wichita teen's drug overdose.
Spin if you dare.
Great. Commercial.
Trick or treat yourself to big wins.
Mark, good to see you.
News this evening. This week, Wichita police arresting a man on suspicion of first-degree murder.
Yeah, here's what we know about it. 24-year-old Isaac Cord accused of distributing drugs to a Wichita 15-year-old who died last month of an overdose. Today, Brock Wilson visited a drug treatment facility to learn about the dangers of substance abuse. Brock?
Mike, Rachel, this all comes about a week after the Kansas State Child Death Review Board released its latest child mortality report showing an increase in child drug deaths. So today, I met with an addiction treatment physician and a counselor that's experienced opiate addiction firsthand to learn about why child drug abuse is such a serious problem.
You have to stay out of that whole arena altogether.
Fentanyl is deadly, and it only takes once.
Because one pill really can kill.
Are you ready for that to happen to your family?
Child drug use becoming a large topic of discussion in Kansas.
How do you get somebody to care about themselves enough and be motivated enough that they don't just throw their life away or gamble with their life?
For addiction treatment physician Dr. Greg Lincoln, many times it's meeting with someone that's been through the same struggles as them.
You know, that age group, that late teens, early 20s, where you think you're smarter than everybody. You know, you think you got it all figured out, and you have no idea what you don't know.
If you reach out to Wichita's Center for Change, you may be connected with addiction counselor Barbara Spurlock.
I had a hysterectomy when I was 38, and the opiates were like yummy.
Barbara has been through opiate addiction herself and knows firsthand the dangers of trying to get drugs from the streets.
I just try to get them to understand when you put something in your mouth, you don't know what it is, or what you think it is not. That's what you're jeopardizing your life.
I asked Barbara for her reaction to this week's case in which a man was arrested for distributing drugs in an overdose death.
I'm glad that they're arresting the people that are selling these, because that's what needs to happen. They killed someone.
And for the young people taking those drugs, Barbara has this message.
Can you see yourself in a coffin? Can you see what your parents go through, or your friends or family?
And back to this week's overdose case today, I asked the district attorney how these cases have been prosecuted in the past. He pointed to a 2013 statute that increased penalties for people accused of distributing drugs in overdose deaths. He said they've enforced that statute many times and will continue to do so. Mike?
All right. There was that. Also, getting the bus ready. Going to leave on Monday and going to head to Stillwater, Oklahoma. They're having a rally, and I'm going to, most of you have seen this, but I'm going to play it again. Ashley Banfield was pretty good at it, so we're going to play hers. But we are headed to Stillwater. Several people have hit me up, and yeah, I'll meet with you while we're in Stillwater. We can hang out.
Hey, everybody, I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious. I have got to tell you about a man named Jesse Mack Butler. Remember that name, Jesse Mack Butler, because you're going to hear it a lot. He is 18 years old, and he is from Stillwater, Oklahoma. That is a college town. It's home to Oklahoma State University, which is about an hour north of Oak City if you're driving. Back in March, when Jesse Mack Butler was just 17 years old, he was charged as an adult with a string of sadistic sex crimes against two girls, fellow students at Stillwater High School. One of those girls was choked unconscious and almost died, according to her doctor. Jesse Butler was charged with 10 felony counts in all, and it is important to hear what those counts are, to hear the list of charges that he faced, because they were so serious. 2 attempted rapes, 3 charges of by instrumentation, which I will leave you to think that through. There's an instrument, that's the charge. 1 count of sexual battery, 1 count of forcible oral. That's a tough one, because most people think of that as something from behind. You can think through that charge as something that happened with the mouth. 2 counts of domestic assault and battery by strangulation, and 1 count of domestic assault and battery. And let me be real clear, there were bigger, more widespread charges that the state could have thrown at the person, like attempted murder. The 2 alleged victims and their families had every reason to believe that the wheels of justice were hard at work for them, right? For them, but also for Jesse Mack Butler. He deserved justice. Everybody does in this country. But before I tell you what actually ended up happening, let me tell you why Jesse Mack Butler faced those 10 charges, what he actually did to those girls. You should know that what I'm about to talk about is extremely graphic in detail, okay? The descriptions are despicable, but they're critical to the story, especially when you find out how the judge in this story, Judge Susan Worthington, came down on this case. A police affidavit said a girl identified as LS, because she's a minor, dated Jessie Butler for about 3 months, starting in January of last year. She was 16 years old at the time. And during that time, this victim said that Jessie Butler repeatedly raped her and attempted to rape her and would strangle her if she refused. The teenage girl actually needed surgery to repair damage that was done to her neck by the strangulation. And her doctor told her that she would have died had that strangulation lasted another 30 seconds. The girl says she gave in to Jesse Mack Butler because he repeatedly threatened to kill her and kill her family if she didn't. A separate affidavit says that in March of that year, last year, Butler took up with another 16-year-old girl identified as only KS. That relationship lasted 6 months. But this teenager said she too was assaulted by Butler, that he was aggressive and violent with her, and says she went along with unwanted sex to avoid being hurt. This victim also said that one time when she did refuse, Butler strangled her and recorded himself doing it, recorded himself strangling her on his phone, strangling her until she passed out. And if you think that this he said, she said, police later found that actual video on Jesse Mack Butler's phone. So think that through for a sec. He not only strangled someone until she passed, he thought it would be fun to videotape it. And he did, and they found it. That's called evidence. Jesse Mack Butler pleaded not guilty to everything that he was charged with, and that is his right. But in the coming months, for reasons that I will not pretend to understand, the DA's office struck a deal with Jesse Butler's lawyers to change his status from adult offender to youthful offender. You know where I'm going, right? Needless to say, the families of these two girls, these victims, begged the district attorney not to do that. Begged him, please do not downgrade the charges against this guy the way he'd be treated as an offender. But no matter, in July, judge signed off. Judge Susan Worthington. Judge Susan Worthington. Remember that name too. She decided, all good, I'll sign off on this. And in August, Jesse Mack Butler changed his plea from not guilty to no contest. And if you watch my podcast regularly, you know how I feel about the no contest plea, right? It's basically just saying, okay, you got me, whatever. I'm not pleading to anything, but okay, you got me. That's what no contest means. It also means you have a conviction, right? You still get the conviction. But for whatever reason, the authorities in this story decided he doesn't even need to say he did it. He can just say no contest. What no contest means is that he knew there was ample evidence to convict him and that a conviction would be the result of his no contest plea. By the way, I mentioned there were 10 counts before. Yeah, that was then. But by August, there was one more. And the grand tally took him to 11. If you can believe it, the new charge was for violating a protective order. During all of this, right? A kid is facing 10 felony charges that are sex-related. And there's a protective order against him. And what does he do? He violates it. Because why not? Right? Why the hell not? All I can say is that this violation should have been such a motherfucking red flag for somebody, but it wasn't. Because guess what? The very same day that he violated that protective order, he was actually being sentenced to 78 years in prison. Same day. 78 years. Which, you know, sounds like a fit punishment for someone who nearly kills two different girls and rapes them both repeatedly, right? And cops to it all. But as a youthful offender, which was his new status, Jesse Mack Butler was entitled to special treatment. And just you wait until you hear how special that treatment was. And I'm going to just advise you right now, pour yourself a big, stiff drink. Before I get to that, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me, get off the ledge. These stories are so passionate, and I would not be able to do this if you weren't in my community. True crime is important. Victim either. And I have one of my sponsors is Incogni Media. When it will it end? And are you ready? Here's the big one: 150 hours of community service. Do you notice what I did say there? No jail time. Nothing. 78 years of jail, 150 hours of community service. That's what this was knocked down to. No social media. No. A curfew. Unless you think that this extraordinary restriction on his life was going to last, forever and ever. Amen. No, this new plan was going to stay in effect until Butler turns 19, which is less than a year from now. Here's another kick in the teeth, if you're anybody other than Jesse Mack Butler or his family. If he complies with this court-ordered rehab for a year and doesn't make any more laws, his record is going to be wiped clean. Squeaky clean. Jesse Mack Butler will not spend a day in prison. His name will not appear on any sex offender registry. Nobody in any other town or city or state or school or university or business is going to have a clue as to who Jesse Mack Butler really is or what his proclivities have been. If you were a background check on him, like let's say you meet him on a dating site, or again, you're thinking of hiring him, none of this will show up. None of it. He nearly kills 2 girls, according to their accusations, right? And according to what he pled to, strangled them until they choked, and the doctor said 30 more seconds, you'd be dead. You'll know nothing about that. I have not been able to breathe properly since I learned about this story. I thought we were so far past this that women could be treated this way and have someone walk like this, let alone girls. These are 16-year-olds, 2 girls. And by the way, their fact patterns are almost identical. It's not he said, she said, he copped to it, right? Earlier on my News Nation show, Banfield, which is weeknights at 10 p.m. on News Nation, I talked with Justin Shepard. He's a digital journalist who has got an online handle, Just in the Nick of Crime. And he has been on this case like glue from the beginning. Here's our conversation. Let me tell you, Justin, you have done some unbelievable digging, not just on the case itself, but the justice system and the players, not only the judge, but the judge's father and those involved. It sounds to me, and this is just a very sweeping comment, Justin, but it sounds to me like this is like the low country Murdochs and how they used to run justice in their neck of the woods. Am I off here?
No, you're not. It's funny you said, I was talking about somebody else about this today earlier, and I said this is just like the Murdoch situation with how deep this goes. And yeah, normally when I get a story that comes across my desk and like, okay, I'm going to talk about this one. And I'm like you, when I first saw this one, I was absolutely livid. I still am. And the next thing I knew, I had so many people reaching out to me about the way Stillwater, Oklahoma judicial system handles things, the type of punishment that sex offenders get or lack thereof. And it goes much deeper than I would have even begun to have imagined.
So let me ask you this. Why no attempted murder charge? The doctor who treated the first victim who has a surgery scar from the welt and the intense swelling that continued after the strangulation. He said that if she was strangled 30 more seconds, she was going to die. Why was there not an attempted murder charge in this case?
That's a great question, and your guess is as good as mine. I mean, maybe perhaps at the beginning they felt they didn't need it with the other litany of charges that they had, that they ended up, pleading down to, 150 hours of community service. But it seems to me when you've strangled somebody twice, to the point that one of them needs surgery, why that wasn't an attempted murder charge it's beyond me.
Is this kid in school with these girls? Because he's walking free. He is out there. Is he allowed to go to school with these girls?
So that's a great question. Right now, he's virtual school. So he is still enrolled at Stillwater High School. He is enrolled virtually, so he can't be seen with these girls, or he can't go see them. However, it is my understanding from people close to the case, people close to some of the students at the school, that he is still texting, trying to hook up, asking if they're single, things like that. So it's like none of this meant anything to him. Like, it's basically, hey, I got a slap on the wrist. This is a get out of jail free card. So I'm just going to continue to live my life with these minor inconveniences.
So during all of this, he allegedly is still trying to hook up with other girls at the school, presumably who know all about what happened to these two fellow classmates.
That's my understanding, yes.
Wow. And I guess I would be surprised if he's violating a restraining order during all of this adjudication, during the fact that he was facing 78 years in prison. He still decides to violate a restraining order?
Mm-hmm. I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about a big elephant in the room here, which is who Jesse Mac Butler really is. So his father is a man by the name of Mac Butler. And if you Google him, he will show up as a former athletic director or director of football for Oklahoma State University, for OSU, which is a pretty big job. He worked at one point for LSU. He's been with several universities throughout bowl games, and then he was hired on at Stillwater High School as an athletic director. And if you look at the news article from when he was hired, the whole town knows who this guy is. Like, a name that you know well around town is now coming to Stillwater High School. So this is a family that is very well connected to the Stillwater area. For a college town, a football town, you can't get much higher than somebody who is involved in the athletics, which his father is.
Let me ask you this. Justin, how about this? The judge in this case, Judge Susan Worthington, I read your Substack about all of the figures in the justice system, and it did not sound good. They are extraordinarily lenient. Their track record looks as though it's like sexual deviance. Oh, wow, whatever. A lot of the sentences, a lot of the bail has let sexual offenders run rampant in this community. First, I think this judge. Second, her father, ahead of her time, if I've got that wrong. But did Judge Susan Worthington here on your screen, was she also connected to the offender's dad at OSU or through any of the athletics programs?
So this is all, unconfirmed speculation or rumors, I could say, based on what I've heard, is that she and her dad, whose name was Don Worthington, and the two of them, I think it's worth noting, kind of ran the bench in Stillwater, the judiciary, for about 50 years. So the two of them have kind of been, over everything. And in my understanding that both of them, the father and now the daughter, Judge Susan Worthington, are very much involved with OSU athletics, whether it's as donors, whether it's as supporters. That's just kind of what I've been told.
What's the recourse here? I got about 20 seconds left. There's got to be something that these families can do.
The only thing that you really have as far as reopening the case is if the DA decides to do that. I believe that's Laura Thomas. And based on what I've started to learn about her, that's highly unlikely. The only other thing that these families could do is probably sue the Butler family legally, given the fact that Jesse was under 18 at the time. That would possibly make the parents liable. But that's kind of the most you're going to be able to do, other than make sure that his face is everywhere. Because once, like you said, he turns 19 years old, this is why. So all we're going to have is a Google search.
It's just unfathomable. We just had the list of charges up on the screen again, Justin. It's just, again, 11 charges, 10 of them extraordinarily violent. He pled to them. This is not allegations. This isn't he said, she said. These things happened to those girls, and 150 hours of community service and a couple of check-ins and no social media is all he's going to get. It just doesn't seem like this is America, if that's the kind of justice that these families are going to get. Stay on this.
There are bad decisions, and then there are
incomprehensible decisions. And this, what happened in Stillwater, feels like the latter. A 17-year-old boy commits a violent, predatory act over and over and over again and cops to it and walks away with community service and therapy and a curfew. And no Facebook or Instagram or Snap. If that doesn't shake your faith in the system, I don't know what will. But we're going to keep digging on this one, and we're not letting it go. Somebody needs to explain how this happened and who decided that this was actually justice being delivered. Maybe, just maybe, things will turn around in this case. Doesn't look like it, but maybe, just maybe, if enough of us put our foot down, hit the road and hold up a sign, show up at those protests, talk to your lawmakers, talk to your leaders in your communities and say, no, this is 2025, almost 2026. Is this really who we are? Is this really what we're going to do to 16-year-old girls and say, no Facebook? We have the power. We have the vote. We have a voice. And again, it's why I thank you for being in this community with me. Otherwise, I'd just be shouting to a camera by myself. Thank you for letting me tell you this story. Thank you for listening to this story.
All right. So there was that. And then if you're in the Oklahoma area, you're not very far from Stillwater. Stand Against Injustice rally, Jesse Butler case. The way JJ Humphrey was saying was that there's other cases also in that county just like this one. This is not the first one. It's probably not the last one. So here's November 5th, starting at 10 a.m. It's going to be at the Payne County Courthouse. And I did see that today they got their, I've been talking to the girl. They did get their permit. And they're looking for people to talk. I'm not going to talk, but they are looking for speakers. I wonder if Triple T will let me borrow that megaphone he's got. So it's a little side joke. You got to kind of know it. But yeah, the permit's been approved. The biggest thing is there's also a petition to remove the judge. This is kind of crazy. It's all in who you know anymore. A lot of people upset. And rightfully so. Still watching the case also in Sallisaw, Oklahoma, where it was said that a 5th grader was assaulted during recess, sexually assaulted. So we're gonna follow these the best we can. But there you go. Let's see here. That's pretty much all I was gonna go over. The main thing I was going over was the London Valdez case. Braydon Brown was arrested the other day. Seems like he got in a fight with his father. And yesterday, they're charging him in the London case. So, there you go. I hope everybody's having a good night. And yes, True Crime Butterfly. Absolutely. It's horribly sad. And don't think that it's just only happening in Oklahoma. I can guarantee it's probably happening everywhere. You just don't get the publicity that it should get. Well, he was already arrested. He got arrested the 25th and drug paraphernalia and DV. It looked like the DV might have been with his father. So he was already in jail when they put these charges on him. 2nd-degree murder is what they're putting on him. Now, I don't know about the other guy, so I didn't mention his name because there is another young man that was with her during all this. But I haven't seen anything on him yet. So let's see here. I'm not going to stay on here very long. I want to go watch On Patrol Live. I used to watch Live PD. Now we watch On Patrol Live. Halloween, there ought to be quite a few good stuff going on. Tell me, do you know who this is? You guys know who this is? Dressed up all on Halloween. That's Patrick Mahomes. If you're a Chiefs fan, that's Patrick Mahomes and his wife and his kids when they was getting ready to go out trick-or-treating. Pretty cool, huh? All right, guys. Hopefully you guys have had a great Halloween. Hopefully nothing crazy happens in your area. Be careful. Keep your eyes open. Don't open your door now. You never know who's going to knock at it. We will see you guys Sunday at 7. And we're going to go over Paul Grice's testimony from December. We're going to go over every bit of it. It's safe there. And well, I don't know that it's safe anywhere anymore. Don't think it's safe anywhere anymore. I mean, you can't even go to church now, right? You go to church, you have to worry about possibly getting shot. A lot of churches are getting shot up. So anyway, guys, much love to you. I'll see you guys Sunday at 7. Enjoy your evening. Happy Halloween. And we will see you Sunday.
Well, her name's Rock Chalk. She's the talk of the town. We're the German Shepherd duo, always sniffing around. Smith and Wesson by her side, they ain't just for show. They're the muscle when she's hustling, solving crime on the go. She's got her boots in the dirt, she's cracking the case. A true crime queen with a smirk on her face. Loves her country rap bumping, got that twang and that beat. You mess around with her, you're in for a treat. Oh, F-A-F-O, better watch your step. Rock Chalk's on the scene, she'll clean up your mess. With her dogs and her charm, she'll track you down slow. Oh, F-A-F-O, yeah, you reap what you sow. She's got a badge and a sassy attitude to boot. Kicks down doors like she's in hot pursuit. Smith and Wesson bark, don't you dare run. She's the queen of the scene, yeah, she gets it done. Country rap on the radio, she's cruising the street. From the city to the sticks, she's the one to meet. Her motto's real simple, don't try no bluff. Mess around all you want, but you'll find out quick enough. Whoa, F-A-F-O, better watch your step. Rock Chalk's on the scene, she'll clean up your mess. With her dogs and her charm, she'll track you down slow. Oh, F-A-F-O, yeah, you reap what you sow. She's got cowboy boots and a badge of steel. With a heart of gold and nerves unreal. You thought you could hide, but she's always in the know. Now you're caught, son, F-A-F-O. So here's the Rock Chalk and her Shepherd crew. Smith and Wesson got her back and they're coming for you. Country rap in her veins, she's the queen of the scene. F-A-F-O is her motto, and she's living the dream. Rock Chalk out. Hey! She's got cowboy boots and a badge of steel. With a heart of gold and nerves unreal. You thought you could hide, but she's always in the know. Now you're caught, son, F-A-F-O. So here's the Rock Chalk and her Shepherd crew. Smith and Wesson got her back and they're coming for you. Country rap in her veins, she's the queen of the scene. F-A-F-O is her motto.